Welcome to our special preview of the King George. A very, very short programme this evening, but I'm delighted to say that we've not only got Matt on the phone, we've also got Sam here as well. Good evening, Sam.
Good evening, complete with Christmas jumper.
Absolutely.
Quite appropriate.
And where were you today?
I've been Winter Wonderland today.
Oh, Winter Wonderland.
Which was interesting.
You smoothie.
Well, there's no racing to go to today because we're filming this on the 23rd, so yeah, no racing to go to, so I thought I'd have a break.
Absolutely, and we have got Matt on the other end of the line. Good evening, Matt. Let's take a look at the King George, Matt, and should we start at the top of the market? Silviana Conti. What's your rating on this one?
Sort of rated on this one, Silviana Conti, of course, we've seen last time, what must be said, I thought it was a bit of a slog last time at Haydock in that Grade 1, the Betfair Chase. Adam performing to a mark of 179, which is £2 beneath his best. I've just got a feeling that race kind of fell apart, really, when you look behind Menorah. I thought ran with credit back in second on ground. He wouldn't have liked. I didn't think he quite got the extra, the final furlong as well, remembering that the Haydock Betfair Chase is 3 mile 1 furlong. Dynaste 8 lengths back. Q card in its race. Harry Topper pulled up. I just tagged on his soul, pulled up. Double Ross unseated. I've just got this feeling that on the day, Silviana Conti outstayed Menorah, and he's certainly won in the King George. I want to take on better ground for sure.
Okay, Silviana Conti?
No, I think that's interesting, Matt, and I can see a bit of an angle. Obviously, Silviana Conti is a horse that we all know plenty about now. But I don't think the horse has captured the imagination the same way some of other Paul Nicholls' other stars have, and I think it was, you watch that Gold Cup run back and it just, the flattering to deceive nature of the horse, I hate that about a horse.
Well, I was all for Q card at Haydock. It didn't answer well, but we'll come on to Q card in a second. I mean, obviously Champagne Fever is an intriguing one here, Matt. Your view on the step up in trip?
Yeah, if you'd have asked me this question before his run last time, 43 days ago, I'd been giving you the thumbs up. But I don't know, for me last time when I've seen him last time, I don't think the plan was to lead. I think they were going to try and hold the horse up, and he just kind of found himself there in front and took it up, and he took up the run and he quickened away, and what virtually for me turned out to be really a 2 mile race of form. It's got to be said, he was 8 to 11 favourite. I know he won by 6 lengths, but the form hasn't worked out. The second, Alderwood, has been out and out more back in third, so I don't know. I think the horse has got a lot of speed. I mean, the best form he's shown, of course, is his 2 runs at Cheltenham, one in the Arkle. I mean, last over 2 miles when beating Dodging Bullets was in that race, 4 lengths. So his form has already shown. Dodging Bullets, obviously a Tingle Creek run. I've just got this feeling Champagne Fever. I'd like to see him come back to 2 miles, and respective of what happens to him in the King George, I think he's skinny enough. But for me, I'd love him to come back to 2 miles. I think he's got plenty of speed.
OK, Matt, quick question. Will the horse stay 3 miles?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the horse will. Bred to stay this far, won a point over the distance. I've got no qualms about the horse staying. I don't necessarily think it'll win, but I think it'll be there or thereabouts and pitching at the end. I'm a big Champagne Fever fan. Everyone watching the show knows that.
And you got done last year.
Yeah.
Sam, Alpha Roth, a good first time out, but tends to dip. The form.
I was there that day at Ascot, and I didn't see the horse. Obviously, Ruby was reunited with him. It was quite an interesting little subplot, and the horse didn't, at one point in the race, didn't look like he was going to stay on. And then out of nowhere, Ruby got the horse jumping again, and he started popping him down the back, got involved, and won. Cosley's probably a little bit over the top, but he won his race. I've never warmed to Alpha Roth in this style of race.
Okay, and Matt?
No, I'd have to. Well, Alpha Roth's interesting. He's another one I just don't really like at this trip of 3 miles. I really think he's a bit of a 2.5 miler. Again, a horse that's shown in his career on some of his best form for me that he showed a 2 miler when it came in the Champion Bumper and also in the Supreme race. But I mean, the form last time is it has worked out well. With Summers beating in second, 7 lengths. Obviously, went on to finish second to Dodging Bullets in a Tingle Creek, and wishful thinking he was 2 lengths back in third. Has obviously come out and won the Peterborough Trace, but it was over 2 mile 3 furlongs, and that's my problem with Alpha Roth. And not only that, he's been beaten this race last year quite some way.
OK, let's move on with a couple now. Menorah and Dynaste, Q card. That's which one of those 3, Matt? Take your eye out of them 3.
Yeah, I like Menorah. He'd be my selection in this race. I just think he can turn the form around with Silviana Conti when we've got drying ground. That won't suit Silviana Conti for me. I don't like the fact he's running around Kempton. Even on soft ground, I'd be against him. So I'm quicker service. I think Menorah can show his best. I mean, he really took that race apart when he beat Tacklin de Sol in a Charlie Hall. Let's not forget, he gave Tacklin de Sol £5 for a 4-length beat in Double Ross. Medamit, Silviana Conti was in that race well back. I think the trend of that sort of form, Menorah must go very close.
Okay.
Yeah, Dynaste is a horse I had huge high hopes for, and I know people say he has picked up prizes along the way, but I can't get on board with the idea of him winning this race.
If you take Matt's point, this race sort of cut up, Dynaste was well beat at Haydock, and so was Q-Card.
And Menorah is a horse I like. I never seem to call the horse right when it wins. I seem to always be the wrong side of it. Current price is around 8-1. Q-Card's the one people can't make a decision on. You've got one bookmaker pricing it at 5s and another one at 8s. I mean, the extremes seem to be there. Q-Card seems to be the one in the market that can't get right.
Say Q-Card was running well. Of the outsiders, Matt, John Spirit obviously is interesting away from Cheltenham, but is anything are they just Deadwood, John Spirit, Wishful Thinking, Wonderful Charm, Double Ross?
Yeah, I mean, when we look at the race, I mean, we have got 6 Grade 1 winners, and this is a Grade 1 race, and the likes of John Spirit, he deserves his chance out of handicap company, but I do think he might get a little bit overphased with all this. One thing I will say about this race, I do think they're going to go a furious gallop with this, so, you know, there's a lot of pace in here. I mean, if you look at Silviana Conti, they'll get on with it like last year. Q-Card's going to want to get on with it. I don't know what they're going to do with Champagne Fever, whether he wants to get on with it. It's going to be fast, and you have to be very, very slick at your fences. Won at a massive price, and listen, I'm not saying he's going to win the race, but I just kept on coming back to him today. Wonderful Charm stepping up to 3 miles. He was in behind Wishful Thinking last time, was woefully outpaced in the Peterborough, but for half the journey, he looked the horse similar to when he put up his best performance at Newbury, and he's definitely a horse that wants good ground. He might just get it. I'm not saying he's going to win. He's 50-1, but I just thought he might be one that might surprise a couple when running to a place. And
Matt, I actually agree with you. The only thing that I doubt with Wonderful Charm is the fact that, again, first time out, it seems to be the horse's best performance, and then slightly it comes down in performance as the season goes on. But I take your point, Matt. At the Peterborough Chase, he was the horse running on, wasn't he, at the end?
The one thing I would say is
he was. The way he travelled through the early part of the race. My problem is going to be is I think they're going to go real, even over 3 miles. He might just get taken off his feet, but he wouldn't surprise me if a few of them up front cut each other's throat getting on with it, and like he might just run on into a place at a massive price.
Okay, Sam.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think we were talking about the shape of the race there, Matt. I want to touch on something. Pretty sure that Ruby Walsh was a jockey when Silviana came down, when the pace started to get upped during the Gold Cup that he fell in. Now, we know Champagne Fever goes well from the front and can jump at an electric pace. If I'm Ruby Walsh, I'm going to put all those horses in behind under pressure early doors, and that way you might not have to find out if the horse will stay 3 miles or not. If he's got them at it way off, or he's got them making errors, he might get away with it.
Okay, this is judgment time. This is judgment.
Yeah, that's a real interesting point you make there, Sam, because when I watched this race back with Tim George from last year, one thing that comes apparent about this race is that the Q-Card and Silviana Conti went off in front, and the likes of Alfaroff, they couldn't pick him up because they just keep on galloping, and you've got to be up in the van. So I do take that point. I just concern Champagne Fever at the price is stepping up to 3 miles. I just think he's got a lot of speed.
Okay, it's judgment time. People are going to watch this YouTube clip hopefully before the King George. Matt, your selection for the King George?
Menorah with a little savour on Wonderful Charm.
Okay, well, I'm Silviana Conti with a little savour on Wonderful Charm. Sam?
I'm going to keep going over the cliff with Champagne Fever, and I'm going to have probably a little bit of a savour, possibly on Wishful Thinking. Interesting jockey booking, I thought. 11-year-old, it'd be great to see him go well, but I'm all in on Champagne Fever.
Okay. All right, well, typical Sam comes out with one right at the end that no one's even talked about. Matt, have a great Christmas. Thanks very much indeed.
Yeah, and you, and all to the viewers, and thanks for the sport at the back end of this year, and I'll see you all in the new year.
OK, all the best. Thank you very much. And Sam, thank you very much.
No problem. Let's hope we got the winner.
Let's hope we got the winner. Well, 3 of us all differ. That's it. Thanks very much indeed. This is the King George preview. Thanks very much for joining us. We will see you live in the new year.